2 games, 2 wins for our Michigan State Spartans. Am I ready to just shift my expectations and go all in? No, I'm actually kind of keeping them the same as preseason.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode of Locked On Spartans is brought to you by FanDuel. If you're a new customer at FanDuel, hey, your first $5 bet, if that wins, you get $300 in bonus bets. Spartan friends, Spartan family, Locked On Spartans listeners, how on earth are we all doing as we are inching closer to another game day here right on Locked On Spartans, your team in green and white right here in the Locked On Podcast Network. And guys, we're going to get into the nitty-gritty with our film guy. It is Chase Glasser doing fantastic work over at Spartans Illustrated. But before doing X's and O's, talking about all sorts of schemes and whatnot, let's just go to an easy Twitter question, Chase. Why not? I mean, because the other day, right off the heels of that double overtime thriller, I said that we've had the weekend to digest that MSU football overtime thriller. If you had to guess, MSU's football record will be, now I labeled 7-5 or better, 6-6 or 5-7 at worst. 888 of you fine folks voted. 7-5 or better was 63% of the vote. A third of you guys said 6-6, and then just 3% said 5-7 or worse. And Chase, not to sound like just Mr. Know-It-All, and I'm just so stuck in my ways. For the season, I said, hey, 7-5. If you had made me guess 8-4 or 6-6, which one would I go with? I'd actually go with 6-6 because the schedule's tough. The pass rush is still a question mark. I'm still kind of there. I'm still kind of 7-5 right now. I like what we've seen from the offense. I thought that there would be steps taken. I do like seeing that other teams on our schedule do look a little human. It's not bad to see. Iowa looks a little vulnerable. Your Michigan Wolverines over there, Chase. You guys, still a solid team. Don't get me wrong, but okay, not unbeatable.
Oh, no.
But then again... Well, Chase, there's also, let's talk about our Spartans too. The reason I'm not looking up flights to college football playoff destinations here in the future is, look, I know it's just 2 games, but it's hard to shake last season off from memory. This pass rush still concerns me. I'm not wholly convinced in the defense. I know that's a lot of monologuing for me, Chase, but that's a long way of saying I'm still where I was 3 weeks ago before the season started. Right now. It's fun. I'm glad things are going the way they are. But Chase, what say you? Are you a little rosier about this team than you were before the season, or where are you at right now?
Well, it's funny. Like you, I'm also where I was preseason, but I was much more in the 7-5, 8-4 camp.
That's right.
I'm still there. And I mean, part of it, you look at the schedule. What is, I think Nebraska's okay, but they almost dropped that game to Cincinnati. Michigan's okay, but they're. You take out some of those big runs. You look at those yards per carry number. They've got issues. Michigan's got issues, and it'll be I'm sure it'll be a competitive game. But you look at a team like UCLA. Okay, you're going to get that one. You're looking at like you said, Iowa's got the ability to take any quarterback and just turn them into a complete pylon. It's just it will be studied.
It's an art.
So you're looking at that, and I felt before the season, this is not a unique observation, but a lot hinged on that week 2 game against Boston College. And I think a lot of people said, you got to get that done. It doesn't really matter how, but you have to get that done, because if you get that you get to 2-0, you're going to get to 3-0 this week, unless something has gone disastrously wrong.
Never know. You never know.
And then it gets a little bit more real. Also, Minnesota, Darius Taylor maybe hurt, right? Like there's some things there where it's like there's a lot going on where you could see if Michigan State continues to develop as the way that I think they have, you could see a lot of good stuff happen, but you needed this one and they got it. And I mean, I'm with you, and we can dive into some of those specifics about things that are maybe above expectations, below expectations. But we could also have a conversation about, a Big 12 style Michigan State Spartans, which I don't know if I've really seen in my lifetime, that you're just going to go out and outscore people. I mean, that's kind of awesome. We are just running. We're gunning. We're doing it all on offense. Man. Yeah. I think I said it maybe once, twice, maybe 14 times during the offseason. I have no more memory that works anymore. I said, this offense, hey,
I think they're going to score 10 more points per game than they did last season because two things. One, the bar was pretty much on the floor. It was 19 points per game last season. And two, I think they obviously made enough changes, whether it's roster or just, hey, holding guys over from last season, obviously, to, blossom as an offense and score 29 points per game. And I also said, you're going to have to do that. Like, look, there are things that I like about the defense. I think the linebacker core much more athletic than last year. The run stopping ability, hey, I think that's going to carry over somewhat from last season. But, oh, boy, that pass rush. I know we're just 2 games into the season. I know it looked fine against Western, but that's a Western team that was replacing 4 offensive linemen than the year prior. And then Dylan Lonergan, I think it was 42 dropbacks. He had 1 quarterback hit on him. Yeah. It could have been 112 dropbacks. I don't think MSU was ever going to get to him that entire game. I get he gets rid of the ball quick, but it can't look like that. No. I will not be gaslit into just thinking that, it's actually okay on Dylan Lonergan's just that good at getting rid of the ball. So that's a long way of saying, yes, I do love this offense. I am very, very happy with what we've seen so far, but it's going to have to continue to look like that, Chase.
I think that's about the size of it. And maybe we can start there with the defense and then talk a little bit about the offense and then kind of wrap up getting into Chiles, who I have a lot of really good stuff to say about. So, defensively, just the pass rush is an issue. We thought it was going to be shaky. I didn't think it was going to be this bad.
I know
it's not, and not to bag on people or anything, but it's like you don't necessarily have somebody who can just beat somebody at 7 yards. Okay. You can get around that, right? There's a lot of really good teams that maybe don't have a total monster off the edge. But if you don't have that, you have to be able to get pass rush in aggregate where you're maybe able to just kind of constrict that pocket, kind of boa constrictor style, where you've got a bunch of people who are just very strong and are walking linemen back. I haven't really seen that. And really we're got a small sample size, and the BC game is doing a lot of work in that regard, but I don't necessarily think it's on
it feels like longer though because of last year, and I'd be lying if I said I could just delete that from my hard drive. That still lingers.
But I do think if you're coming in with priors and you're seeing them confirmed early, not that things can't change, because they can, but I don't think it's ridiculous to say that, well, this might not be what we want. Now there's things that you can do. The pressure package down there at the goal line where they had a safety walked up and there was a twist, I think with Jordan Hall, who's been just awesome.
Yeah, dynamite.
They were able to get pressure that way. You're probably going to have to do that to get pass rush, because you have to. Some of these quarterbacks, you have to heat them up, right? Especially looking at the schedule, you're going to really want to do that, but you have to have faith in your back end to do that. And that's where the pass D, that is an issue. Now you've got a safety out in Nakai Martinez, who's going to be back. I think that may be very helpful as far as having someone who can frankly get people organized. And that's something that I looked at what happened against Boston College when Michigan State's just getting carved. And there was technique issues. If you're sitting in a cover 2 and you're not rerouting guys off the line of scrimmage, you got to do that, right? You have to do that. People not getting into their zone drops correctly, that happened. But I don't know this because I don't know what they're told in defensive meetings, but it seemed like there was alignment issues. No, that's not great, but that is fixable, right? Yeah. And that's better than, hey, X player just straight up cannot play, and we don't have
right.
Right. So it's there's talent in that secondary. There's players there, but there was a long catch and run when Boston College was kind of coming out of their own end zone, and it was pretty much straight cover 3, and you had your deep safety out of a one high look aligned over the passing strength. But I thought that he was 5 yards too far over the boundary where he's gotcha. Head up over number 2. And it's you want to cap that route if it goes vertical, but I think you want that person playing a little bit more center field. Now, maybe he's coached like that, and that maybe, but I don't think so. So it's if you have somebody who's been with his coaching staff for a while, who's been in the program for a while, who has that kind of rapport, the way that in Nakai the way that does. I think that could be very helpful in just getting people organized so you're not getting defeated by alignment. Now then if you're lined up right and you get beaten by technique, well, maybe, a 15-yard pass turns into a 25-yard pass, but it probably doesn't turn into a touchdown or something like that. So I think that might be very helpful.
It is almost the weekend again, so it's time to look back. Last weekend crowned the MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order, these players delivered when it mattered most. Let's break it down. Now, earlier we talked about Aidan Chiles in the week, okay? But how about right now? Yeah, let's be an actual Big Ten podcast and talk punting because, guys, for our Spartans, Ryan Eckley delivered in a big way. He has so far through 2 games this season. Not just those great punts last week, but on the whole season, guys, 4 punts down inside the 5-yard line. Yeah, no wonder that he is going to be getting some All-American love this season. And guys, just like Ryan Eckley delivered for our Spartans, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays. With DoorDash Streaks, you can save every Saturday you order, stack it up all season, and you can save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period goes through November 18th. Also, guys, need to hear from our friends over at Alumni Hall because I want to talk to you about the best place to get all of your Michigan State gear. It is indeed Alumni Hall. Alumni Hall has the largest selection of officially licensed gear from all the top brands we are looking for. We're talking Nike, we're talking Columbia, Champion, Yeti, New Era, so much more, guys. They have the apparel for your entire family from kids to adults, plus a huge section of hats, gifts, and all the tailgating gear you could ever need to make your setup the best in the lots this season. And they take care of the Spartan community. Michigan State students and faculty, as well as military and all first responders, you get 10% off with a valid ID at the store. And on top of all of that, guys, it gets even better. You'll want to follow Alumni Hall on social media and download the Alumni Hall app because that is where you will find special offers and sales. So don't wait any longer. Pop into Alumni Hall in the Eastwood Town Center in Lansing near the Apple Store or shop online or through their app. And the best part is, for every $150 you spend, you're going to get $10 in Hall cash to use for the next time. So grab that new game day look or upgrade your tailgate with Alumni Hall. It's your ultimate Michigan State shopping destination.
Against Western, I did see some schematic diversity from the defense that I really did like.
Okay.
Michigan State just played a lot of man, and I didn't see that as much last year, where I saw some split field coverages, and I like seeing that too, where it's like, it's clear, I think that Rossi has installed more and is more comfortable. It's just a matter of getting people executing so that you can really get into that playbook. And against Western, hey, we feel like we're out athleting them at pretty much every position. We're going to do that. Great. So I'm very intrigued to see what that looks like as the year goes on. Particularly, I mean, this week you're looking at playing an FCS team that does have a quarterback who's not
spicy. I know. It's like scary.
Do I think they're going to win? Absolutely not.
Yeah,
right. But do I think that he could come in and give your defense a heck of a look in a game that you kind of know that you're going to win? Yeah, and that can be a really good thing as far as just repping different defensive packages. So I'm going to be really looking at kind of what the defense looks like from architecture perspective. They're playing a lot of one high. And last year, I frankly have not looked to back this up, but it seemed like they played more too high last year than I've seen this year. But I kind of like that. They're a little more aggressive, a little more in your face, and that's great. But when you do that, you got to make sure that your technique is very sound. And I think that that's a work in progress.
We'll get more. We're going to get more into Youngstown State tomorrow. We actually have a play-by-play guy for Youngstown State tomorrow to help us break down the Penguins. But oh my God, the quarterback literally put up 264 rushing yards last game on 10 carries. Now look,
that's
Robert Morris a defensive stalwart? Probably not. I'm just going to go ahead and go out on a limb there. But those stats are insane, and they've also returned their top receiver from last year. So. Look, it's like a 0-win situation for our defense. If you get a pass rush, we're not going to get on here and say, oh, my God, they've done it. That's right. What? No, that's what you're supposed to do.
Right.
But if you get carved up by these guys, oh, my God, we'll really start to loosen our collar here. But we'll get more to the Youngstown game in tomorrow's show. But right now, I do want to get to a listener question because I think they set up a great conversation with Aidan Chiles and goes hand in hand with what you're doing over at Spartans Illustrated, your great film work sessions that you got. This is from Coach Chris, always writes in great questions. I have a question that stems from a concern. Through 2 weeks, I felt like Aidan Chiles was still holding onto the ball too long. But upon further review, I'm wondering if there just aren't quick options available to him. Outside of a few play action rollout short passes that are clearly the first option, is Lingard giving Chiles any shorter options like curls, slants, crosses? In other words, are the sacks a result of scheme rather than just blocking issues or Chiles' decision-making? Now, I do want to add this, Chase. We brought this up not too long ago, I think 1 or 2 episodes ago. Last week against Boston College, Aidan Chiles had the 3rd most time to throw, according to Pro Football Focus, and he had the most passes where he had at least 2.5 seconds to throw the ball in the entire country at 77% of his dropbacks. Now, that takes 2 to tango. That takes good pass protection. That also takes him extending plays with his legs. So it's like a catch-22, I guess, might be the phrase I might use for this one. Like, on one hand, hey, it's great that sometimes he's got good protection, can extend plays. But on the other hand, are we holding on to the ball too long? Like, is this the reason for maybe a few sacks? And that's not to say he didn't have an outstanding game, because he did. But is this like an issue? Do you think that this is something that is maybe of potential future concern for Michigan State?
Well, it's a great question. I think
it is.
Yeah. Like it's clearly somebody who's watching the games with a little bit more of an educated eye, and we appreciate that here on this.
Absolutely.
Most intellectually sound of podcasts. So
ball knowers only here. Let's go. Come
on. No, but so I guess first off with the pass protection, I am a little bit concerned with it, especially what it looks like against higher end competition. Especially at left tackle spot, you really don't want to get teleported around by a defensive end from Western. Now, granted, Western has
do or don't. Let's be clear. You don't want to get moved back like an okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I will say like Western has some players there's one guy in particular whose name I'm blanking on. I want to say
Dane Tucker. Was it that guy?
Yes, he's good. Yeah. He's a good player. Yeah. But I'm a little bit concerned there, but I do think it's not breaking down every play, right? And I do think, and we've talked about this, Matt, for a while, that State does a good job at getting Chiles outside of the pocket. I also think Chiles is more comfortable stepping up in the pocket. So I do think, yes, he's holding on to the ball maybe a little bit longer than he did last year. I think on balance, that's a good thing. Now, has there been a couple things where he took a particular one sack against Western that I thought was kind of, hey, come on, man, you got to be a little bit better than that. So I think there's an element of that there. But as to the fabric of the question, Michigan. So I went back and watched every throw that he made against Boston College, and then against Western, and then a package from BC as well. Michigan State is hunting deep shots this year. And I think that seems like it. I think that's an excellent strategy because you've got wide receivers who are dudes.
Yeah.
And you've got an offensive line that is not great in the run game. I still have to see that. But I mean, it's 2 weeks in a row where they've put together a good performance in the run game. And I'm not going to get too off on a tangent here. Against Western, I thought that those defensive tackles were so light that it's hard, when you're just getting them walked 7 yards down the field. That's great. Yeah. Now, to be clear, there was years where Michigan State was not doing that. So you take that.
Yeah.
You understand that.
Yeah.
But again, like against Boston College, I thought their edges were miserable in run defense.
Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride, with more IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus awards than anyone else as of August 2025. From footwork to breathwork, we get it. Athletes sweat all the details. Mazda is no different, bringing the same intention to how they craft every single model. You can make everyday drives feel like anything but, from smooth handling to intuitive controls, and with all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence almost through every single season, guys. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. Also, guys, FanDuel, that's right, making every single weekend exciting, whether it's college football Saturday, NFL Sunday, or all the other football games in between. Guys, NFL season's here, and FanDuel is here to make sure that you are ready for kickoff with this can't-miss offer for you new customers. Guys, Get ready for this one. New customers, you bet just $5. And if that first bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. We're talking props, we're talking futures, we're talking game lines, or my personal favorite, same game parlays. You know, I'll have a few of those cooked up for Saturday, also for Sunday. And guys, let's all close our eyes. Let's join hands together, especially my Detroit Lions Spartan fans over here. Jameson Williams, first-time touchdown. That is what we are going to ride with on FanDuel this upcoming weekend, guys. Are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app right now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet.
Right. So it's like, I mean, Jack Velling's a fine football player. I don't necessarily think he's the type of world-eating tight end that's going to take a defensive end and just completely blow him out every play. That's not a diss on him, but I did not feel very good at run defenders. But again, Michigan State has played, kind of middle-of-the-road Power 5 teams and not been able to run the ball against them. So while we don't know how good the run game is, I think we can say with certainty that it's very much improved. There was a couple of wrinkles. They had a nice counter package in there. So all of that, you want to run the ball more. Maybe you still know you need a little bit of help on the offensive line. You've got really good wide receivers. You've got a quarterback with a live arm. Michigan State is hunting deep shots. We talked in the Nick Marsh film room a little bit about how they use dagger and Yankee a lot. Those are kind of something vertical with some sort of a cross behind it, whether it's like a dig or a deep cross. Mm-hmm. Michigan State uses those. They love them. Nick Marsh is an animal on vertical routes. You saw that with just the separation, the release that he was able to get on that long touchdown against Boston College. Omari Kelly has been awesome at running those deep crosses, very instinctive. So Michigan State's hunting them. So I think that's part of it where, you're holding the ball, just waiting for those routes to develop. But I do think I would say in watching a lot of these throwing packages and cut-ups, there are options for Chiles to check down. And he actually has more than honestly I remembered, and going back and watching them all in like an 8-minute span or whatever, he has checked it down more than I remembered, where a lot of times you do have Velling on just kind of like a hitch sitting under the defense. Hey, settle into a defense here underneath a hole in the defense. The game against Western really started with a bunch of little smoke routes at or behind the line of scrimmage to wide receivers, bring people down to hit them over the top. But on pretty much every option where there's a deep cross or some sort of deep developing route, there is something in the shorter intermediate that he can hit. So I do think that's there. Now, I think that Chiles is actively saying, I'm not going to do that. I'm going glory hunting here. I don't mind that. Like, I really don't. So I think that maybe there could be a coaching aspect, especially if you're playing like, Penn State or something like that. Hey man, we're going to take what's there. Even though I think if you're playing Penn State this year, go for it. Right. Like, but
why not? Yeah.
So maybe that was a poor example, but I do think, in a game where your possessions are going to be shrunk, maybe that's a better way of saying it. You might maximize those opportunities so you're not going 3 and out. But those there are options to throw short there, except for the times, and Michigan State did this last year, and they've done that this year a little bit, where they'll go max protect. And just have a 2-man route. And it's like, hey, we think if we give Nick Marsh enough time, he's going to beat somebody. Mm-hmm. That's not a bad play, right? Like, I think that long touchdown he had at the start of the second half against Maryland last year, that was a 2-man route concept. And it's just, I'm better than you. So, I think that there's a lot of good stuff there. I think Chiles has been awesome. I mean, he's, he fumbled a couple times against Western. One of them was not his fault at all. But I mean, that's going to happen a little bit. He's not been throwing picks. He's been decisive. He's picked his spots running really well. The arm talent is fantastic. He gets happy feet a little bit. You saw that against Western, throwing off his back foot. He missed some throws he should have made. But I think it's clear watching him, he's better than he was last year.
Certainly.
And I'm really pleased to see that. So, I mean, I think kind of speaking broadly, my arrow is up from where probably a lot of people are. I think that this is the team that's going to give people problems. I'm really excited about it. Defense, you want to see, there was a cornerback that got hit with a motion, bumped over too much, and there was a mesh rail coming out of the backfield. The running back got hit, scored a touchdown. Those are correctable. I think there's a lot of mistakes here that are correctable. And they're going to need to be corrected, particularly on defense, because USC is putting up 10 yards per play or something ridiculous like that.
I do not want to see USC put up 70 points at 2:15 in the morning.
Yeah, I was going to say,
do not want to see that.
12 of watching football. But
if we could just tighten up the communication issues, that'd be great. So Mekhi Lemon isn't 30 yards past the entire secondary.
Right.
That'd just be peachy.
But so many of these things that we talk about, Matt, are either things that are actively going well or issues that I think are pretty correctable. And I think we always thought that with Jonathan Smith, this was going to be a bit of a slow burn. That's kind of the guy he is. He's not going to portal in a whole team. He's going to pick his spots. But I mean, look at next year, right? Like I think you can see the core of a team that could be pretty compelling next year. So and a team that I think certainly has a lot to play for this year. So I'm excited. I'm very excited, and I just happy with pretty much everything that I've seen on balance. I don't know if you have these grave structural issues that it's like, hey, we're really, really in trouble here. Going to need to see things improve, but I think we're looking at a really good week for that when you're playing Youngstown State. So
if not for nothing else, things are already just 2 games in more fun than last season. I mean,
for sure. I mean, that game against Western, although if maybe you look at, if you were purely scoreboard watching, maybe it looks a little bit closer than you'd want. If you watch that game, I mean, that game was over at halftime.
It was over after the second touchdown. It never really felt like this was in danger.
No.
Yeah, it was a nice feeling.
You weren't super crisp in the second half. I mean, whatever, right? You only play 12, 13 football games a year. There's going to be bumps. But it's way more fun. I mean, it's the first throw wasn't picked off, right? And that was a heuristic that we had about hey, how's this season going to go? Started better.
Stark improvement right from the rip. Yeah. Oh my God. Touchdowns, plural from the offense in the first half. What's going on here? No, it was great time. So speaking of great times, Chase, always a great time having you on this show, especially after a whirlwind, just a few days of travel for you. You're always gracious with your time, your insight. And guys, if you want more of him, and why wouldn't you? He's got great insight over at Spartans Illustrated. So guys, check his work out. Check out all the work going on over there. And also check us out tomorrow because, like I said, we're going to get more into the nitty-gritty with the Penguins. That's right, with the radio play-by-play guy himself. We're going to talk about what we want to see. We're going to talk about basketball. Forgot about that sport for a little bit. And then Chase, I really need to avenge myself from 5 best bets last week. It wasn't one thing to go 1-4 last week, but the 4 misses, whoo! I wasn't even really close on any of those 4. So, yeah, we're going to try to right those wrongs here. But, guys, that is all tomorrow on Locked On Spartans, your team in green and white. Until then, take care of yourselves. Love you all. Go green.